What's the complication with Gordon Park? I'm not clear about what's the whole thing going to have issues.
Gordon Park is litigation.
That's for the ice skating.
Let's say next month it got litigated.
And then they would just be taken out of the park. After the season's over.
But if it got dragged on 3
and even if you moved so AYSL could use the field.
You guys could possibly be here more than 1 year.
Let me speak to that issue. Yeah, it could possibly be here for more than 1 year. I'm Chris Walsh. I'm a Park District Commissioner. How are you?
Hi, Chris. Thank you.
No problem. You took me away from digging fence holes in my backyard, so I'm happy to do that anytime. It could be here for more than 1 year. However, it's not at all likely that it would be here for 3 years, and the reason that I say that is that we were awarded a grant from the state of Illinois to make improvements to Gordon Park, and if I remember the timeline correctly, we need to make those improvements within 2 years. So if we want to do what we said we would do with that grant money, which we obviously do, then we would have to have it done within that 2 year period.
Right, but if enrollment does increase, if the enrollment does increase and this is here, it's the path of least resistance. So we just want to treat this like the toll roads are only supposed to be temporary, and they're not. So we're just going to treat this like
what are supposed to be temporary?
The toll roads were supposed to be temporary, but they're not.
I come from the East Coast. I have extreme sympathy for that point of view. The toll roads there were supposed to be temporary also. I think Connecticut just took theirs out a couple of years ago.
So when this is getting set up, we just want to have it done in the most satisfactory way, because if it is here for longer than a year, we don't want to be looking back on it and saying, well, we should have fought harder to get other arrangements made.
Let me address your point about the path to least resistance. I can't speak for the entire board, but I think I can safely assure you that it would not be the path to least resistance, because I would resist having it stay beyond a point at which Gordon Park had been finished, because the Little League all of a sudden became more popular. I would suffice it to say that I would resist that, and I would resist it strenuously. However, I don't think I would have to. I think the Little League has been extremely, I don't know what the best term would be, but community aware with respect to that, and they're not looking to curry disfavor any more than anyone else would be. And I just want to speak to one further thing. I've already, I hope, answered your question, but if I can just speak to one thing. In a way, this sort of illustrates the kind of resource shell game that the Park District has had put upon itself by virtue of the fact that our plans for Gordon Park have been delayed. And by virtue of that fact, the fields that exist over there today, I don't know if today they're underwater, but a week ago there was standing water there. And after every heavy rain, or even a modest rain, it's a duck pond.
Where you want to go floods too, by the way.
Yeah.
Well,
this floods badly.
It's all relative,
especially with your hose across the street.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but kids have run and slid in the mud. I mean, it's
well. So in here, it's an amenity. At Gordon Park, I mean, if it was a little deeper, we could have paddle boats for people.
No,
so, you know, it's unfortunate that this ongoing litigation situation has, in a sense, required that we make these temporary, kind of suboptimal adjustments that impact people. But we can't do nothing, because then that would be even worse, at least in my opinion.
What happens if you lose the litigation?
If we lose,
yes,
then we proceed according to our plan with respect to the state grant, and we don't make the other improvements because we wouldn't get that much.
Isn't an option here, though, although it doesn't address the safety issue, to just have T-ball here? You don't need the backstop, you don't need to dig out the bases, and the park saves $5,000. Construction, bring all the T-ball games here. You know,
kind of like adding an additional shell to the shell game, but for a better outcome.
Well, I mean, I think there's no one inconvenienced by that. I mean, there's no consequences at all by doing that. You're not disrupting the park. You still got all your ball games. You move these older kids to Gilbert, where the T-ball kids are playing now. There's already a backstop here. We can all go home.
The only fly in the ointment on that one is that Waiola Park, for the last however 30 or 40 years since I was playing here in the summertime, has always had 60-foot bases at the south field.
Yeah.
At Gilbert Park, when the Park District and Little League put it in last year away from the street, it was put in as 50-foot base paths, which is the shorter paths for T-ball and coach pitch. And so the Farm League kids, the 8-year-olds, play on a 60-foot base path. So we don't have the field set up for that at Gilbert.
Could that be expanded at all?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't sound.
How much would it cost to expand that versus
sounds
putting
like
in a
less
whole
of a project
new
than
here?
what you plan on doing here.
It would probably cost about the same because you would be doing it to 2 fields instead of 1.
But you'd have 2 more fields to play on.
Right.
No, what you're saying is I'd have this field and another field here in the grass, and I'd have 2 at Gilbert, which is what we've proposed to Park District. It's 4 fields either way.
Right, but for us, you're not putting in any type. You're not digging up the ground. You're not putting in a structure. You're
No one's inconvenienced.
you're still getting to play 2 games here, but you're just not altering the park.
To do that to Gilbert would be either to have 2 footprints there, which doubles the sand that you have over there, or to put it in and then take it out, which is going to be double the work, which ends up being more costly. So
More costly than $5,000?
Put it in and take it out, sure.
Will help.
Well, why not do it to 1 field then? If you do it to 1 field there, as opposed to doing it here and move the T-ball here, then you're only doing it to 1 field.
Right, but
We're looking for some compromise here. It's like
I think
you want the most premium spot in the park. You want to put the field you want to put in the. I mean, there's got to be some give here. We understand. That the park is needed for other families to come and use for other purposes. We're just looking for a compromise. So
I gotta say one thing. I'm a board member for Little League. I'm also a neighbor, and the solution that we're talking about right now would invite not just the Farm League there, the Farm League over there, but then move the T-ball and coach pitch there, which would almost double the games that you have there, which creates a lot more. I mean, what I was hearing before was the congestion and the confusion. So you'd have more practices and more games here without the fence. So that's something to consider too.
Greg brings up a good point. I have the schedule with me. If I brought T-ball and coach pitch over here and moved the dirt over at Gilbert. T-ball is the youngest age. Coach pitch is where Dad lobs it to him at age 7, and then farm is 8 years old. So if I brought the 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds over here, there would be 2 games every night, Monday through Friday. With the Farm League, it's Monday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Not really, because you'd be splitting it. Because if you keep 1 field over there, a T-ball field, and you have 1 T-ball field here, those would be split in half. Because we're saying just alter 1 field over there to your 60-foot or 60 whatever the big field is, and leave 1 T-ball and coach pitch. That would only put 1 field here. So there wouldn't be twice the amount of games because there'd be 1 here and 1 there.
It seems like you haven't considered every single opportunity.
I don't think that anyone, with all due respect, considers every possible thing. I mean, I could ask the Park District to play games till midnight.
You also have not contacted the residents here to find how they feel about it. And that's why we're here right now.
I think that's why there's a lot of defensiveness, because I think everybody just saw equipment out here like
it came at a late date. We could have had these conversations much earlier. Right?
We would have gladly been there in November to talk about it.
As everyone said, we're all about baseball. My son came up through it, played T-ball, and he played games in this park. They put the bases out there, enjoyed it, and you guys do a phenomenal job.
No, we haven't.
But we think that there might be a better way, and we just got to voice ourselves a little late in the game.